Zondra Publishers. Excellent little book. And it gives a summary of the Gnostic Gospels. I'll just read. And it helps you just to know these other Gospels that were not the four Gospels, these heretical Gospels. What are they? What they're about? It gives you some information here. We have the Gospel of Nicodemus, embodies Acts of Pilate, an alleged official report of the trial of Jesus on Emperor Tiberius, produced in the 2nd or 5th century, purely imaginary. We have Proto-Evangelium of James, a narrative from the birth of Mary to the slaughter of the innocent, stories that had begun to circulate in the 2nd century, completed in the 5th century. These books Muhammad used for the Quran, by the way. Passing of Mary is a book that abounds in miracles and culminates in the removal of her spotless and precious body to paradise, written in the 4th century with the rise of virgin worship. The Gospel according to the Hebrews, additions to the canonical Gospels with some alleged sayings of Jesus about AD 100. The Gospel of the Ebionites, compiled from the Synoptic Gospels in interest of Ebionite doctrine between 2nd and 4th century. The Gospel of the Egyptians, imaginary conversations between Jesus and Salome between AD 130 and 150, used by Sabellians. Notice these Gospels quote the four Gospels. The four Gospels never quote these Gospels, and these Gospels don't know anything of the detail of Jerusalem, whereas the four Gospels do, showing you that the Gospels are earlier, the four Gospels, and also that they were written by people who knew Jerusalem at the time of Jesus. Just saying. The Gospel of the Egyptians, imaginary conversation between Jesus and Salome, written AD 130 to 150, used by Sabellians. Gospel of Peter, middle of 2nd century, based on canonical Gospels written in the interest of anti-Jewish Docetic doctrines. The Gospel of Pseudo-Matthew, a 5th century forged translation of Matthew, abound with childhood miracles of Jesus. Gospel of Thomas, 2nd century, Jesus' life from the 5th to 12th year, makes him a miracle worker to satisfy boyish whims. Nativity of Mary, a deliberate forgery of the 6th century to further worship of Virgin Mary, stories to Mary with papal growth. It became immensely popular. Arabic Gospel of the Childhood, 7th century, stories of miracles during the sojourn of Egypt, extremely fantastic. Gospel of Joseph the Carpenter of 4th century, originated in Egypt, devoted to the glorification of Joseph. Apocalypse of Peter, purported visions of heaven and hell granted to Peter, called spurious by Eusebius. The Acts of John, end of 2nd century, story of visit to Rome, purely imaginary. Contains a revolting picture of sensuality. Acts of Andrew, story of Andrew persuading Maximilian to refrain from intercourse with her husband, resulting in... The Acts of Thomas is a 2nd century book that tries to encourage people to abstain. The letter of Peter to James is a pure fabrication created by the Ebionites in the 2nd century to attack Paul. The epistle from Laodicea professes to be the one referred to Colossians in 4:16. A lot of Paul's phrases strung together, not original. Letters of Paul to Seneca with letters from Seneca to Paul, a 4th century forgery, object either to commend Christianity to the followers of Seneca or to commend Seneca to Christians. The main characteristics of these writings is that they are fictitious, representing itself as history, but for the most part they are so utterly absurd that the falsity is self-evident. The Abigarus letters, these may have some basis of... We don't know if that's fact or fiction. That's a little introduction to the Gnostic Gospels. There's more. They're kind of fantastic stories. They're not based in any reality. They take a lot from the Gospels, 4 Gospels, and their late dates from 2nd century onwards, whereas the 4 Gospels are the 1st century. All right. God bless you. I hope that was of interest to you. God bless you. Get hold of this book. It's a mine of information, and it's really, really helpful to take on holiday with you, or just have around else when you feel like browsing. There's lots of quick, interesting, information about the Bible. So God bless you and take care. God bless.